So yesterday the Chargers lost again. They're now 3-2 on the season, tied for Denver in first. Now obviously we have the tiebreaker, so if the season were to end, the Chargers would be the winner of the division. But Kansas City, they also play tonight, so we're looking at more than likely a three-way tie for first place in the division. And right when you think things couldn't get worse, Amari Hampton goes down in the fourth quarter and was placed on the IR. I mean, I hate to be that guy to make excuses, but when you're down to your third string tackle, your second string guard, defensively, you're without Denzel Perryman, you're without Khalil Mack. I mean, how do you stop the run? Jaden Daniels wasn't being pressured the entire game. I mean, outside of Tuli Tuipulotu, the pass rush has been non existent. Justin Herbert throws for 166 yards, had that pick down on the goal line, 4 sacks, probably was pressured about 15 or 16 times. I lost track after that. It was a disastrous game. I mean, this was just a good old ass kicking. The Chargers really kind of shot themselves in the foot. Like the return game was not good. The O line was bad. The defense, like Troy Dye, was horrible, man. I mean, oh my goodness, it was definitely a day to forget for him. But I'm gonna try to stay optimistic, man. I still want to make videos. I just have a hard time doing it after an L, especially again losing at 17 points to the Commanders. Jaden Daniels hadn't played in weeks. You're at home, disaster, man. But let's talk about how the Chargers can replace Amari Hampton. Obviously, they're not going to go in the free agent market and bring in someone who's Amari Hampton. I mean, this guy's absolutely electric. Right when he was starting to get things going, he's hurt. But there are a couple of names that can at least help the Chargers get by for the next month or so. So let's kind of talk about it. So right now, the current depth chart is Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, and Amir Johnson. So you have two special teams players. Haskins has barely touched the football as a running back this season. Vidal is he's solid. I'd imagine he'll be promoted to the active roster. He's on the practice squad. And then Johnson is also on the practice squad. I don't think we'll see him necessarily. There's a couple of names that instantly stood out to me. The first one's Gus Edwards, just because he played here last season and he has familiarity in Greg Roman's system. Now, my thing with Edwards is he's just not very good. Like I was disappointed with him last season. I mean, I get he was hurt for a lot of the year, but when he played, he wasn't the same guy he was in Baltimore. But again, he knows the offense and he's certainly an upgrade at what the Chargers have currently. The next name that stood out to me was Jamal Williams. I love Jamal Williams, man. I used to cover the Packers back when he was there. He's such a nice, funny guy. Big anime fan as well, for those of you that are into that. He worked out somewhat recently with the Dolphins, Bears, and Colts in August and September, so he's probably still in game shape. 2022, he had over 1,000 rushing yards, 17 rushing touchdowns. His role went down with the Saints in 2023 and 24, and then he became a free agent. I think Williams makes sense because he's a veteran, but it's also the locker room could use a guy like him right now, someone who's funny just to kind of keep spirits going. I mean, I can't speak for the Chargers because obviously I'm not in that locker room and I'm not on the field, but just as a fan, it's just been deflating. Like the fact I didn't make a video after the loss. I mean, I haven't been making videos at all the past couple of weeks. Not that I'm checked out. I'm covering and watching the games and things like that, but it's just this team doesn't even have a chance. They're just depleted with injuries. And I think Williams has got to come in here and just lighten up the mood. I hope they bring in Jamal Williams. I definitely would rather have him than Gus Edwards because he's probably just a flat out better player than Gus Edwards, which is why he got those workouts. And then his personality would fit very, very well here. Trey Sermon, if we're going off of who's the best, Trey Sermon's probably the best available running back. I'm surprised he's only on the practice squad right now for Pittsburgh. He certainly should be on an NFL roster as even a second or a third string running back. He complimented JT, Jonathan Taylor, 2023-24. He compiled 319 yards and 2 touchdowns across those 2 years. When JT was out of the game, I remember there was a game specifically against Pittsburgh, which is funny enough because he's on the practice squad. He played very well. Like Sermon, the thing about Sermon, though, is he was running behind a good offensive line. The Chargers have a horrific offensive line right now without Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater backed in and out, and even Pipkins got hurt. It was bad. But again, you could do a lot worse than Trey Sermon up until you get back Amari Hampton and Najee Harris is out for the season. Damian Martinez, a former 7th-round pick, is currently on the practice squad for Seattle. He worked out for the Colts in late September. I guess he bounced on and off of the squad, so he's not currently there, it's looking like. If the Chargers want a young, cost-controlled lottery pick, lottery pick, dude, what are we doing? Saint Basketball, baby. If they want just a guy with potential who's kind of cheap, I mean, they could go that route. But it does it matter like really who the Chargers bring in though, because the offensive line is just so bad. I mean, oh my goodness, 21 pressures is crazy. The Chargers allow 21 pressures and 8 hits of Justin Herbert. I mean, how do you expect to win a football game doing that? It's not going to happen. Like prime Tom Brady could have been back there, and not to say the Chargers wouldn't have won because it's Tom Brady, but like even Brady I think would have struggled. Like there's just no quarterback ever that's going to take that type of hits and have that amount of pressure in his face and be able to succeed. And speaking of Tom Brady, he said before the game that if Justin Herbert's protected, he's the best quarterback in football. And well, for the first 3 weeks of the season, a couple of weeks, the Chargers, they were protecting Herbert very well, and he just absolutely was on fire. He looked like the MVP. He looked like a superstar. And then the Chargers have started a charger, and that sort of thought went away quickly here. But it wasn't just the offensive line. And sure, Herbert could play better. I'll be the first one. I'm always the most harsh guy in Herbert because then I started a Chargers channel, not because I'm from San Diego. I live on the East Coast. It's because of Justin Herbert. I'll be the first to tell you guys that he's got to play better. But I mean, there's just only so much he can do. The defense is just as much to blame as the offensive line. Deebo Samuel looked like Deebo Samuel from 4 years ago, 8 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. He's literally the only threat Washington has. Jaden Daniels had a 50-yard pass to Luke McCaffrey that set up a field goal before halftime. The Chargers struggled against the run. LA only had 13 pressures all game. 5 were from Tully. Again, the Commanders had 21 pressures on Herbert. So if the Chargers were able to get 21 pressures of their own, this is a completely different game. Obviously, we could have been like, oh, woulda, coulda, shoulda, this and that. I mean, the run game horrible. Couldn't pressure Jaden Daniels, and then we saw Debo go off. The run game, like specifically the running back for the Commanders, man, he was on when he was freaking unstoppable. The kickoff execution was bad. So Washington averaged 30.7 yards per return. LA averaged 22. That's not going to get it done. Without Darius Davis, there's just no one out there that is going to be able to do what he does. Now, Lat McConkey did have a punt return touchdown that was called back due to who was it? Marlowe. There was one of the Charger defenders just absolutely ran. Yeah, I think it was Marlowe Wax who made the roster as a rookie linebacker, rightfully so. I mean, he had an awesome camp, but he hits the punter, and not only does that give the Commanders the ball back with an automatic first down, but it takes away points off the board. It takes away a touchdown. So it's just such a stupid, inexcusable, boneheaded play that I'm sure drove Jim Harbaugh crazy. And when they look at the film, it's going to make them even more frustrated. The penalties were a huge issue, and it was like, and even when it wasn't penalties, it was the Chargers just not being prepared and not getting lined up properly. Like Tyler Conklin ran out on the field late. The Chargers should have called a timeout, but they snapped the ball very quickly, and then the ball hits Conklin off of his hands and off of his helmet, right through. I mean, it was just awful. Like that is not a great team. It is like even though guys are down, you still have to execute. You still have to come to play, and the Chargers just haven't done that. Herbert and Bozeman. Speaking of Bozeman, from someone who covered the Chargers the entire offseason, I told you guys Bradley Bozeman and Zion Johnson, I just don't think they're that good. And the statistics back me up on that. From the eye test, they're not good. And statistically, they're bottom 10, if not bottom 8 players at their position. Bozeman has not played well. So you're dealing with an offensive line that's injured, and then you're dealing with Bradley Bozeman. It just hasn't been good. Like the fact that the Chargers only added in Becton and then like a 6th-round lineman is just inexcusable. It might cost them the season, guys. Again, I might be overreacting here, but I really don't think I am. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with the Chargers right now, and that's why last week I said if the Chargers don't address this, things are going to get ugly quick, and they're starting to get ugly quick. Now, for the sake of the Chargers, I hope they play a bad team this weekend, because if they play a remotely competitive team, they're going to lose again. I'm sure somebody's going to go in the comments. Like every time I say that, somebody goes to the comments, they're like, oh, we're playing the Chiefs. I don't want to know. Like once we get past the tape and this and that, and I'm ready to get on in the middle of the week to the team we're playing, we'll talk about it. But I mean, there's no reason for me to know who we're playing in 6 days from now. Like let's kind of focus on this week and what went wrong, and hopefully sign some players and move forward. But it's your boy Thunder Alley. I'm about to sign out, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.